This makeup requires intermediate skills and it takes about 40 minutes to prep and about 1 to 1.5 hours to apply. We only spent a tiny amount of money on this, and that money went into 2 headbands, rhinestones, feathers, the thick gold paper, and some hairspray color. And of course, the headpiece and mask can be reused. Alright, so there we have our feathers, and we also cut up a black boa to get even more feathery textury materials. So for the top of our headpiece, we're gonna need thin pointy strips of the gold paper. So we cut that out, thin little strips, thick at one end and super thin in the other, looking something like that. And then we simply glue that straight onto the headband. And of course, if you don't have a glue gun, use whatever kind of glue you have. We put a little space between those golden strips, and in those spaces we place the feathers. And to make this headpiece reach both up and backwards as well as down and forward over our forehead, we simply glue 2 headbands together, like this. However, we actually ended up detaching them later on because it was much easier to fit them on our head that way. We do the same thing over again. Golden strips, but this time we line the spaces with the black feathers from the boa. Headpiece in Swedish is huvudbonad. And when we feel we have enough feathers, we continue with the face mask. And for this, we're gonna need a masquerade mask of any sort covering your eyes, either with a rubber band in the back, like ours, or with a handle on the side. Anything goes. And yup, you guessed it, more of those feathers. We simply glue them along the edge there, on top. And this mask piece adds to the hybrid factor because this is going to be more bird-like than the headpiece, bringing in that phoenix element. We cut up some shorter gold strips there, and yep, get them on there. Same process as before, basically. A little bit of space between them, as many as you like. Then we continue to decorate this mask with red feathers on the sides as well as in the center. And those feathers might be a little annoying, so you might have to go in and groom them a little bit to make sure they don't cover those holes for the eyes. Next up, detailing work with the rhinestones, and we simply begin in one corner of the eye and place them all around the eye, as close to the edge as possible. And to keep the bird theme going, we're gonna create our own golden feathers this time. Small triangular pieces like this, and we simply apply them in 3 layers along the bottom of that mask. So get that first row in place, and then overlap them almost like lizard scales or something like that. So it's gonna look really nice and feathery. And when you're done, you should have something looking like this. And we don't go all the way out on the nose at this stage because we're gonna create the beak. And speaking of that, let's create that beak right now. And for that, we're using clay. This is your basic, any kind of clay, really. This doesn't really need to set, so just use what you have. An oval shaped flat disc is a good way to start, and then you bend that over the mask. Push it over like that. And with the general shape down for the top part, we go in with a pair of scissors and simply cut it out the way we want it, cutting off all the excess. And of course, this is much easier if you have a reference photo of a beak that you can watch, but always remember there is nothing wrong with any kind of shape you create, so everything is right. We apply a little bit of glue onto that beak and slap it onto the mask right there. When the glue sets, you can go in and start shaping that beak again. And Ellie is using the handle of a brush here, rolling it over that beak to smooth out the surface. And then we need the nostrils. So we go in with another brush handle there and simply stick it straight in. And we continue to draw out a line there from that nostril, making it look more natural. Pushing into the clay and then rolling it off with that big handle on the brush, smoothing it out. We also use it to create further detailing. And when you're satisfied with your beak, you can continue with those golden feathers we were working on before. And make sure they go all the way up to that beak. And for additional sparkle, we go in and place a little line of red rhinestones there. And as usual, you are free to do anything you like. We actually went and continued to put those golden rhinestones out onto the beak to integrate it into the whole mask a little bit better. And after that, paint job time. We actually used that yellow hairspray color just a little bit on the tip of that beak, making sure it's still a little bit white closer to the mask, and then go in just taking the edge there with some black hairspray as well. Get these spots on the beak and it looks really, really cool. At least we think so. Then we actually went back to the headpiece and added a lot more feathers to it because it looked kind of thin, so that's more like it. And hey, if you are into masks and headpieces, check out all our amazing tutorials on how to make them yourself. All available in one single playlist for your convenience. Now let's do that makeup. Starting out with our brows, and we want to turn them a little bit red. Now this red tone actually turned out to be a little bit magenta, so yeah, we need to work on that. But just imagine yourself that it's red, okay? Because red and yellow is the main theme for our look here. Alright, so a little bit of foundation just on the brow there. And while we're at it, some primer as well. Now back to that supposedly red tone. We need to get that smoky look on. And you know what that means? It's a lot of blending to be expected. And here is another Swedish lesson for all of you who likes gossip. Is Max falling for a girl named Julia? Håller Max på att falla för en tjej som heter Julia? Oh my god, it was Julia. What does she look like? How old is she? Where's she from? How did they meet? So many questions. And with that red base in place, we go in and create a lot of pow and boom with a solid black color. Taking our time to really blend that in. And just a little heads up here, sometimes when I add contrast to our videos, those smooth transition and blends kind of get eaten up. And of course the same process on the lower eyelid there. Put the black base down and then go in with a fluffier brush to blend it all together. The base of our eyes done, so we go in and cover the rest of our face with foundation, making sure we don't mess up that eye makeup, of course. And then set it all with some translucent powder. Next up, time to bring back the shape of our face here, adding that light brown tone to our cheekbones, our temples, our jawline, as well as our neck. And to keep things in line with our general look, we go in with that same red tone on all those places as well. We also extend this down along our neck, but this time we are going way more intense. And we also use it to emphasize our collarbones a little bit. And to make those collarbones pop even more, we go in with a much darker tone of brown and simply shade underneath them. And here it's important to keep a fairly straight line along the collarbone and simply fade that color out downwards. And seeing how well those colors work together, we simply went back and added more punch to the shading we did previously. We also go back in with a much brighter tone here to really define our collarbones and the lines on our neck. Then we go back in with that red tone and thin off our nose a little bit. Then switching to yellow to go over those highlight areas. Beginning at the inner corner of our eye there, fading that into the red. And then onto our cheekbones. Further onto the nose, our chin, as well as down onto our collarbones and neck. This will match up our makeup with our headpiece and mask, of course, which is a lot of golden, bright yellow as well as red. We push in that yellow in all our highlight areas. On our chest, as well as on our cheekbones and even the forehead. Mix that yellow tone in. Then we do a little fixer-upper on the eye there, extending that red tone outwards towards the nose again. Mascara and then the lashes. Put them in place. And the lips outlined with a dark red tone. And the lips themselves will get a nice touch of a super deep red color. With those intense lips in place and no lipstick on our teeth, we can continue with our next project. The golden feather chest made up of tiny pieces of that golden paper. But first we need a yellow base to build that on. We are using that yellow hairspray color. You can of course use any kind of makeup you have. We're going for a nice triangular shape, thin around your neck and then wider down onto your chest. To attach the pieces of golden paper, we are using liquid latex. You can of course use skin adhesive. And it's the same process as on the mask. We start low, then we overlap them just like scales, and then we work our way all the way up, basically to our chin. Well, almost at least. Then we do a little fixer-upper on the shading there on the collarbones to get that back in place. And then it's time for more hairspray color. And we push down that top just a little bit so we get this spotty texture. It's pretty cool. Suits well with a bird also. Time for the headpiece, which has actually turned into two headpieces again. Much easier to fit those headbands if they are not glued together. So there you go. More golden feathers in layers in our forehead. Same procedure as we have done on the chest and the mask. This time, however, we have a lot more space between them and only 2 layers. Just a quickie there to groom that headpiece a little bit. Then it's Rhinestone Fever again, going in with those golden ones as well as the red ones. And also a few larger gemstones there, like in the center. We are now close to the finished look, but we have a few elements left. First off, that black eyeliner there on the lower waterline, and then that shimmering highlight. A touch of intense red at the center of our lip as well. Perfect. And the final touch on this fiery Phoenix hybrid is a nice little orange dot right at the center there under our eyes. And yeah, we do have orangey fiery contacts in as well, if you haven't noticed that until now. There is the fiery makeup Phoenix hybrid look from our NYX Nordic Face Awards 2017 series. We hope you liked this look, and if you did, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends on the interwebs. And also, of course, subscribe. Don't forget to check out our over 220 amazing tutorials on how to create everything from gory messes and monsters to awesome, stylish makeups. Anyways, have a good day. Take care of each other out there. We love you. Bye.